Welcome to the E28 presentation of learning.
This expedition we have focused on World War I and its impact on people across the British Empire.
Our guiding question this expedition has been, do we honour all those who made a sacrifice in war?
The expedition was broken into 3 case studies. The first was called The Call to the Arms, where we focused on looking at why the war broke out and how the men were recruited. The second case study was called The Call of the Motherland, which focused on how the Empire countries were called upon to help the First World War and how the soldiers of different religions and their cultures were sacrificed, and the effects it had on the soldiers in the trenches.
The third case study was called The Call of Home and explored the lasting effects of the war and the effects on those who lost loved ones during the war.
For our product, we have each written a piece of creative writing expressing an unheard voice in war.
This evening you will hear each student in C28 performing a radio broadcast entwined with our creative writing, highlighting the key moments and leading up to and during the World War I.
There are tensions brewing across Europe.
2 sides are currently forming as we speak. Russia, Britain and France are forming a triple entente, whereas Germany, Italy and Austria-Hungary are now a triple alliance. Where does this leave the British Empire?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Britain has been readying itself for a situation just like this by forming alliances, deals that will give help if needed, and improving its own military powers. Turns out Germany has been a little jealous, haven't they?
Indeed they have. Kaiser Wilhelm wanted to be bigger and better than the Empire. This added to the gradual build-up of tensions by starting an arms race. Both countries wanted the biggest and best ships. They named these the dreadnoughts.
The constant urge to compete with each other across Europe is known as imperialism. Imperialist countries want to be strong, wealthy and powerful. Our neighbour, France, wants its land back from Germany, who say they stole it in 1871.
Like most British folk, we are proud to be supportive of our country. This is what we call nationalism. The British press have been circulating rumours about an invasion of the motherland. Surely this cannot be true. Coming to you from XP School, we have some beautiful creative writing from students.
The grubby, unwashed soldiers have a crooked metal pipe that fires loud and bellowing sounds that my poor ears twitch in pain upon hearing. The giants carry smudged scales on their furry heads, and mucky bags full of sand surround them like a protective shield. Their explosive stakes are equipped with keen, serrated fangs, and immoral explosions ring out in the distance.
We interrupt this broadcast with the breaking news that Archduke Franz Ferdinand from Austria-Hungary has been assassinated by Gavrilo Princip, who belongs to the Black Hand Gang, a Serbian secret military organisation. We are yet to know the consequences of this. Is war now inevitable?
July 28, 1914. It's a month later, Austria-Hungary officially declared war on Serbia. As Russia is an ally, it has joined in on the side of Serbia.
August 10th, 1914, breaking news. Britain declares war. Crowds can be seen cheering outside Buckingham Palace. However, there is a feeling of worry and anxiety amongst others across the country. The government has reassured us that the war will all be over by Christmas.
August 10th, 1914. Breaking news. Today, Austria-Hungary has invaded Russia. The alliances have now been triggered.
So let's take a closer look at Britain's position in Europe this year, 1914.
Britain has tried not to get involved in the ongoing crisis in Europe. However, this seems to have all changed from late July of this year. The news of the assassination of Franz Ferdinand has been met with shock and surprise in Britain, and while the crisis between countries in Europe has been growing, British involvement has remained uncertain. Many people in Britain do not want to fight and believe that Britain should not get involved. The government is divided. In this broadcast, we pose the question, what should its involvement be?
Does Britain need to protect its vast global empire and its sea trade? We know the British government has agreed to support Belgium if the Triple Alliance tries to violate its neutrality. Could this agreement have lasting consequences for Britain?
Only time will tell. Newsflash, we interrupt this afternoon's broadcast to inform you that today, the 3rd of August 1914, Germany has just declared war on France.
Update. Germany has demanded to take its troops through Belgium to get to France. Belgium has refused the request.
Further update. Germany has invaded Belgium. At 2 p.m. today, the 4th of August, Britain has issued an ultimatum demanding Germany withdraw its troops.
Evening breaking news. At 11 p.m. today, the ultimatum deadline has passed without a reply. Britain has officially declared war on Germany.
Are men have prepared to join the cause? Well, it turns out not at all. Our community is having to use many tools to encourage the men to join up. The government has stated that propaganda is to become a vital tool in the recruitment of men to fight.
What is propaganda?
Well, propaganda is information that is designed to be especially biased and is often used to promote a political cause or point of view. So how is propaganda used in World War I? There have been various methods of propaganda used in Britain so far. Written forms of propaganda have been distributed by British media. This has ranged from books, leaflets, official publications, minstrel speeches to royal messages.
Posters have been carefully designed. Some posters have been printed to make the army look exciting. Others have told men it's their duty to join, that they will feel proud if they do or guilty and embarrassed if they don't join. Stories about bad things the Germans have done have been told to make people angry and frightened, so everyone wants Britain to beat them in the war.
Another widely recognised propaganda symbol at the moment is the white feather. It has, among other things, represented cowardice. It is aimed to shame men into enlisting into the British Army. Women have been persuaded to present men with a white feather if they are not wearing a uniform.
I stood still as men charged like horses out of their waterlogged trench. Bombs were thrown, boom, bullets were shot, bang. My branches started to bend as if near breaking point. Bullets screamed past, skimming my leaves. It was as if I was dreaming. A place I once called home is now a place many died.
It's 1916. A conscription has been introduced in Britain. From the first 2 years of war, Britain has suffered heavy casualties. The British Army is finding it difficult to replace these men.
As a result, the government has no alternative but to increase numbers by introducing conscription compulsory active service. Parliament has been deeply divided on this issue but has recognised that because of the imminent collapse of the morale of the French army, immediate action is essential. From January 1916 onwards, the Military Service Act will be passed. All single men aged between 18 and 41, except the medically unfit, clergymen, teachers and certain classes of industrial workers will be called upon to fight.
We are seeing some people who are conscientious objectors, men who object to fighting on moral grounds, who are also exempt, and in most cases will be given civilian jobs or non-fighting roles at the front.
Britain called upon its empire at the very start of World War I. Britain's colonies have sent over 2.5 million men to fight for Britain. So far, India has sent the most soldiers. Colonies as far away as Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa and Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe, have also sent thousands of soldiers. This has meant that Britain has troops from 5 different continents fighting for the motherland.
Multiple countries and soldiers of religions and faith have now joined the British effort. A number of Sikh soldiers have joined the effort. They believe in one God called Wahguru, which means wonderful Lord or wonderful teacher. In World War I, Indian troops started arriving on the Western Front from September 1914. Sikh soldiers fought bravely and played a crucial role in the First Battle of Press. Over 1.5 million Indian soldiers had gone to support the effort on the front line.
As I perched on the ragged splinters of wood, all I could see was the barren place that I once called my home.
It is November 1916. The Battle of Somme has just finished. The offensive began on the 1st of July 1916 after a week-long artillery bombardment of the German trenches. However, this bombardment was not successful, and advancing British troops found that the German defences were not being destroyed as expected. This has resulted in many units suffering very high casualties. By the end of the first day, on the 1st of June 1916, British forces reported we had suffered 57,470 casualties, of whom 19,240 were killed. This clearly represents the largest losses suffered by the British Army in a single day. We are saddened to bring this news to you on this day. We can now report that both sides have suffered casualties of at least 1 million men.
The calm waves are getting stronger, and I start to lose him by the second. I realise that I can't deliver the treatment he needs in these conditions. I shut his eyes and let him rest. He lies still.
Newsflash, today's date is November 11th, 1918. We are relieved to share the news with you that Germany has formally surrendered. All nations have agreed to stop fighting while the terms of peace are negotiated.
Today's evening news bulletin on the 28th of June 1919, Germany and the Allied nations have signed the Treaty of Versailles, formally ending the Great War.
Thank you for listening to our presentation of learning.